Hey guys, it's Jamie here, and I feel like I possibly need to do another one of Melina's scrap busting challenges, but I've had an idea of how I'm going to take the initial concept of her challenge, apply that, and then apply it to another process as well. So keep watching to see what we're going to do, and I will be back in a minute. Stage one is super simple. I am taking very plain strips of the scrap. See, there's so much of it. It's literally falling onto the floor, and cutting up strips, rectangular strips. So I'm just going to make sure everything's nice shaped. Like this I'll probably halve, maybe take it to that length, and I will be back when I have a lot of strips to show you stage two. So stage one's nice and easy, isn't it? Let's get on to stage two. Couple of things you can do now you've got all of these cut up into little rectangles, bigger ones, different sizes is better, is you can either cut some corners or you can cut a little bit off the corners. So to do that, I would try not to fold them too tightly together because you don't want too many creases, but to get something equal you want to kind of fold them together so you can get a similar shape. So you can have one or both styles, and as you can see the rectangles are different sizes and different, although they're all brown papers, they're all slightly different. So that is my next task, rounding some corners, cutting some corners off. Well, that didn't take forever. The next thing to do is for each one of these is to stamp some background onto it. I'm going to use scripts, different scripts, but it doesn't really matter which way you stamp it, because, or whether you use different scripts or not, because ultimately it is just going to be background. I've got several things here that could be considered background script. You don't have to have this as your background. It could just be cut out from book pages. It's entirely up to you what you've got available. This is really the next stage, as you can see, just filling in some of this background. Anywhere I can see some ink, I will pop it onto these and keep going until, again, all of them are done. I was in about 7 hours. I'm just jumping back on with my extremely messy hands because I think I've worked out the best way to do this. So I think the best way to do this is actually to, for example, let's take another colour, let's take blue, to edge it with a little ink pad, or the bigger ones if that's all you've got. I just happen to have these because they were cheaper basically. And then with the same colour, to find some stamps that you like, I'm just going to use some that are already here because that makes sense to me. Just popping them on here because I still haven't found my little stamping block, and create the inside of the label. So just stamp something on the inside, maybe find another one, a plant or something. I've got a plant here, grab a plant one, pop the plant one on. And then you might want to do a postage mark up here or something, and that way I think you get a better result on these labels. See, they start to look a little something label-like. I'm finally back with the next stage. You'll have to forgive my voice. I have a terrible cold. So I've had a couple of days off. I'm still not, as you can tell, fully recovered. So this is what we're going to do with all the scrap labels that have been made, and there's a lot of them. I will warn you now, it does take a long time to make these. What we do with the Masterboard is we are going to take these labels and treat it a bit like a jigsaw and cover both sides of this freebie magazine. Don't even worry, I'm not even going to worry about if they overlap, what way they go, whether you can read the words or not. It's what colours are going next to each other. I want that element of surprise. But everything here is scrap, in the sense that these bits of paper were in the scrap pile. This magazine is just a freebie that comes through the door well, it seems to be quite regularly. I seem to have a lot of free mail. I'm going to go different ways, butt them up, maybe even overlap them, different colours, different shapes. You can see that I'm going to try and cover up the magazine that they're being based upon. So sometimes one's going to go over another one. I'm just pulling from the pile and popping them down. So what I'm going to do, so you don't get too bored watching that, is come back when the 2 pages are completely covered. This is a stage that you do not have to do. I happen to like the shine that you get from Mod Podge and the fact that it seals in your work if anything's lifting. However, if you don't want to do this bit, you don't have to. You get a slight shine protective coating from doing this, and it is very, very quick to dry. So I am just going to be spreading this over both pages, letting that dry, and then we're going to come back and cut this into tags, bookmarks, journaling cards, whatever it is we decide we're going to use this for. Of course, you can just leave it as it is and cut it when you want. This is now dry, and as you can see, it's got a slight shine to it, and it's a bit more leathery feeling. I have these tags that were really, really cheap, like well under £1, and what I'm going to do is draw on the back of here this basic shape and cut them out. I think for the purposes of the video and speed, I will take this string out of here, back this onto here, and just trim round again. I'm looking at this advert here thinking these are perfect shapes for actual journaling cards. And that would be a journaling card when it's backed with some coffee stained paper or paper of any sort, which I will do in a second. That's dried off a little bit, so let's trim along where that is. So that's now your background for your tag, which is these homemade labels, tickets, whatever you want to call those. The next thing I want to do is, if I can find it, which I can't at the moment, is punch a hole through. I don't know where my puncher's gone. So I'm going to do it this way and then come back through this way, because I don't really want the paper going out that way. I want it going out the other way. Grab the original tie, pull this through. My nails, being slightly longer, are now more awkward for things like this. If I back these and cut these, then we can decorate these ones. As far as I'm concerned, there's no point making tons of ephemera if you don't at some point use it. So I've just gone through some of the previous projects, which you'll find in the playlist, and I'm going to add some bits to these to hopefully complete these cards and tags. Just inking the edges at the moment, both sides. So again, this side too. And for this one, I'm thinking of gluing down a little bit of lace the coffee stained lace that I've been using a lot of recently, just down one edge. I don't know whether I also want to add a plain piece of paper so that this stands out a little bit, possibly to there. Again, probably ink around those edges. I don't want to cover up too much of all that label work and that masterboard. Just cut that edge, hoping this silicone glue is running, and it is. Awesome. I could have it sitting over the edge actually. That might be quite nice. That's got to dry off. It doesn't take long though, the silicone glue, to dry. Meanwhile, just snip through that lace. Then I'm just going to add this little circular button type thing onto here, and that one I think is done. With this one, what I might do, I've got this typed quote. What I might do, it sort of fits here. It definitely fits it that way. It's backed now. I'm going to potentially see if this is dry enough to punch some corners. Okay. And then we can just add that to that background. You could mount it. That's a possibility. I don't know if it's essential because it's pretty plain anyway, but let's just see, and then either like it or we won't. I'm just going to grab a pair of the fancy scissors and follow that shape. And does that help that stand out a little bit more? It probably does. And I may not ink the edge actually. So I'm going to lay just both of these down. And I think that's actually okay as a journaling card. I do still have some of these dried flower stickers left, not many. This one, which is huge, but you could take 2. And then you save that one for another project. Along there, I was going to ink these edges because there's some white there. I have the Distress Oxide in Espresso here, but I might actually get a blending brush and just take the edge off that whiteness. Now I did only roughly cut along that edge, so I am actually going to take it slightly over again and trim it up. I probably could do with a little something. I think, although I do have ones that are more matchy in colourway, I quite want something that's going to stand out. So I think I'm going to add this butterfly. I'm not bothered about the specimen sample number for this one. So I'm going to cut roughly round that butterfly shape, and that's going to be where the hole is, so go that way with it. I think that is what I'm going to do with that tag, because I'm learning that I sometimes over decorate them. So I'm going to keep these ones simple, and that's 3 things made from that masterboard with plenty of the masterboard somewhere left over. I don't even know what I've done with it now. Oh, there it is. So I've got plenty left over for more things. Yeah, if you've enjoyed this video and looking at making label masterboards and then turning them into tags and journaling cards, please like and comment and possibly subscribe. I do try to upload daily. Obviously I've had a cold, so I've missed a couple of days, but normally it's a daily upload. So always fresh content and material on this baby channel. And thank you. See you next time. Bye.